Hello, everybody out there on Facebook Live. We're so glad you've joined us today to sing. Just hang tight for a few seconds. We're going to be opening up the doors in just a minute. Glad you've joined us today. And we are go. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song, day 300 and something or other as we approach our 1-year anniversary. So glad so many folks are joining in the room today. So happy to see you here. I see lots of regular faces and some new faces today. Hello and welcome to Marcia, who's going to be singing with us today, Bruce from Alligator Records, Marc from Alligator Records, and Katie Abadou, who's running the tech today. Thank you. And I want to also say hi to Aloysius in Massachusetts, Becky in Vancouver. Hello, Hetty, glad you're here today. Sue in California, Deborah in Kentucky, Annette in California. Hello, Elise Witt from Georgia, one of our regular song leaders. So glad you're here today. And hello to Kay, and hello to Sheila in Florida, Susan in Ohio, Sarah in Texas, Carolyn in Idaho, Valerie in Kentucky. Hello to Thomasina in New York. Glad you're here again today. Randy, hello. Janet in Georgia. Hello, Betsy from Washington Rebels. Hello, Deli in Maryland. Kathy in Virginia. Terry, nice to have you again today. Nancy in Washington State. Hello, Gay. Hello, Judy and Bonnie in Idaho, and Arlene in California. Hello, Dion in Mass. Hello, Busy Graham, Carpe Diem Arts. Hello, James in Tacoma Park. Hello, Kathleen in Albuquerque. Rosalie in Michigan. Mabel in Mass. Hello, Jacqueline and Barb in Kentucky. Hello, Francis and Isabel in Florida, and Jim in New York City, and Kevin in New Hampshire. Fred in Maine. Fran and Dale in Colorado. Caroline in Maryland. Nick, and hello to Nick's right-hand girl coming in from Western Supermar, England, UK. Thank you for holding up that sign. That's awesome. I love it. Hello, Michelle and Steve in Silver Spring. Dennis and Victoria. Hello, Lynn in Connecticut. Hello, Jasvier. Nice to see you today. I think you might be new. Hello, Tom and Victoria, Gary and Mass. And to folks off video today, Bob and Brian and Barbara and Ruth and Harriet and Beth and Storm and lots of others still coming into the room. So glad you're all here today. Thank you so much for joining. What an amazing community of singers that come in from all over the states and elsewhere to be in this room with us. Thank you, and thank you again. We're so excited that all of you find the same joy and the same sort of respite in coming together to sing one song every day. And today, actually, we're super excited to have with us in the room Marcia Ball, who is on Alligator Records, and two of the execs from Alligator Records who are celebrating this year their 50th year of being a record label, which I find totally, entirely, amazingly fascinating. I'm going to turn the floor over now to Marc Lipkin, who has been with Alligator for 29 years and who is a publicity and marketing guy at the record label, and who has actually been my contact and been a pleasure to work with. Marc, I would like to turn it over to you. Before you say anything, I just want to point out that the lyrics for Marcia's song will be in the chat. And at some point, Marcia is going to ask you to throw some words into the chat yourselves. So keep your ears and your eyes open for that. Marc, thank you so much. Really glad to have you with us. And you need to unmute. I got you. You're unmuted.
Okay, there we go. Thank you for showing up and being here, everybody. Joe, thanks for having Marcia on, including her in your coverage. We're thrilled to be here. So 50 years ago, this guy, at least to my right on the screen, Bruce Iglauer, fell in love with a band named Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers here in Chicago. And the band had been unrecorded, and Bruce took it upon himself, based solely on his love for the music that this band put out, this joyous, boisterous, life-affirming, fun, uplifting music, and took his little bit of money that he had in his pocket and he recorded the band. 50 years later, Alligator has become the world's biggest and most well-known in blues record and roots rock record label in the country. And with the addition of Marcia Ball back a couple of years ago, it just made it all even better. So I'm going to turn it over to Bruce. He could talk a little bit more about that, and Again, thanks everybody for doing this, and we're really excited to be here. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mark. It's a pleasure to see everybody, and being that it's Women's History Month, everybody on the screen in front of me except Mark is of the female persuasion, which I guess is appropriate. I think a guy just slipped in over here. Alligator has started in a one-room apartment in uptown Chicago with one record, and grew very, very slowly into a catalog of 350 records, and an active roster of about 15 artists, including Marcia Ball, of course, a team of 15 people in Chicago who are the record company's staff. And we're just so energized by the blues and blues-based music that we hear and record. The blues world is like a community, and the musicians all know each other. They often jam together. It's not a world of superstars and fatheaded people, and it's so much fun to be with these people who are singing from their souls and their hearts and playing from their souls and their hearts, and not doing slick rehearsed kinds of sets. But I mean, one of the things I love about Marcia is she will be calling songs on stage based on how she feels, or if somebody hollers something from the audience. And that's typical of blues artists in general and Alligator artists in particular. This year, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary. I've done this every day for 50 years, and it's flown by. We were going to take a big tour on the road, and for obvious reasons, we're not. So one thing that's happening, a lot of our artists are doing video events, but one thing that's happening is that this weekend, this Saturday, and then on demand for a month after that, there is an Alligator Records 50th anniversary concert with one of our bands and 3 special guests, Billy Branch and the Sons of Blues, Shamika Copeland, Toronto Cannon, and Little Ed of Little Ed and the Blues Imperials, who were all videoed last week and will be seen for the first time on Saturday night. It's all professionally recorded, and Governor State University in the Chicago area were the people who put this on. So kudos to them. And now it's my pleasure to introduce one of my favorite people on the face of the earth. I'm so proud that she's an Alligator recording artist, and I'm so proud that she's my friend. Marcia Ball has been making music for over 4 decades, well, touring for over 4 decades, making music longer than that. Originally from Louisiana, now living in Austin, Texas for the last million years or so, and normally is almost constantly on the road. So sitting at home has been, like for the rest of us, has been kind of a pain for her. But of course, she continues to perform at home and online. And also, one of the things I love about Marcia is Marcia's got a gigantic social conscience. And she does more benefits than any other artist on the label. She does benefits for various causes that I think many of us would agree with. And actually was involved in forming a charity right there in Austin to help older musicians who are homeless or have living problems. She also was a crucial person in you're going to talk a little about Seeing Red, aren't you, Marcia? In a series of protests in Texas. And she makes great music. This is her 20th year with the label. I had to look, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I see, you're surprised too. So without further ado, a wonderful talent, a wonderful person, and proudly an Alligator recording artist, direct from Austin, Texas, Marcia Ball.
Woo! All right, y'all, let's sing. Thank you, Bruce. Okay. So my most recent record, which is not all that recent, on Alligator Records, is called Shine Bright. And we're just going to go into the song here. Your part is simply Shine Bright. And but there's a lot of it. And then toward the end of this song, as we play, and I can see my chat more or less down here, you can suggest some people that you think shine bright in the lyrics, which are posted apparently in chat. There's the part that's in the song, and then there's the list of other people that I didn't have room for. So anyway, let's all shine bright. As we go around the sun, holding on when the corners come, putting ourselves out on the line, never heed the warning sign. Walk into the world ahead, learn everything that's ever been said, see everything that you can find. Open up your mind, shine bright. Go on and take somebody with you, shine bright. I forgot to tell y'all, shine bright. It's a gift you're giving when you feel the spirit. Step into the light, shine bright. Yeah, use your hands, y'all. Choose your heroes, choose them well. Listen to the stories they tell. Feel the planet go round and round. Moon and stars are coming unwound. Love your neighbor, teach your child. Tighten up the ties that bind. Be here now, now's the time. Open up your eyes, shine bright. Be who you want to be, shine bright. For all the world to see, shine bright. We're making history. Every time we breathe, we're trying to do it right. Oh, yeah. For a friend, be a pal to the bitter end. Life is work and work is good. God is love and love is truth. Art is music, music is art. Life's a story, play a part. Doesn't matter who you are. Open up your heart, shine bright. Like the Reverend Martin Luther King, shine bright. First man on the moon, Neil Armstrong, shine bright. Number 42, Jackie Robinson, shine bright. The primary prankster, Ken Kesey, shine bright. Soul Queen of New Orleans, Irma Thomas, shine bright. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, shine bright. Texas Governor Ann Richards, shine bright. Here we go, Sojourner Truth, she's on my list. Shine bright. You say Bedwell, woo, shine bright. Suffragette Susan B. Anthony, let's keep it going. Shine bright. Mr. Rogers, shine bright. Stacey Abrams, y'all, shine bright. Albert Collins, woo, the Iceman, shine bright. Silent Spring, Rachel Carson, shine bright. Helen Keller, how about Helen Keller? Shine bright. Janis Joplin, woo, shine bright. Mother Teresa, shine bright. Aretha, all right, shine bright. Willie Nelson, shine bright. Barbara Jordan, okay, one more, shine bright. Woo, Sister Rosa Parks, y'all. When you feel the spirit, step into the light, shine bright. Woo! Sounds noisy in here.
Holy smokes, the energy and the impact of singing those names out loud with all of that energy and all of that joy behind it. That is like seriously enough to care. We don't have to have a daily antidote for the rest of this week. We'll just all hold tight and hang on to that. That was beautiful, absolutely perfect and amazing. Thank you so much, Marcia.
You're
Can we
so
please
welcome. Thank
Can we
you.
please all show Marcia how much we loved it? I love also that shine bright is the same as like, yay, yippee, yahoo, thank you so much, and clap, clap, right? It's just a perfect sentiment Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are definitely excited to hear more about everything about your work, about that song, and about Alligator. So Bruce, would you like to unmute and sort of jump into this conversation with Marcia and me? And Marc, also welcome to unmute. Bruce, you want to take it?
Well, there's little that I have to say because Marcia's a self-starter, and she's been doing everything she can to fix the world kind of ever since I've known her. So Marcia, do you want to talk a little bit about the various causes you've worked for and are working for now, and maybe suggest to some of the people here what they could be doing?
Sure, I will. I'm looking at the chat line here. Rosetta Tharpe, Cicely Tyson, Mahalia Jackson. That would be the first woman I ever saw singing on television that blew me away. I've been a Mahalia Jackson fan since television came out. So since I learned to spell Motorola. So, okay, so I am sustained by a community of women. My group is varied, but for instance, one of the nonprofits I'm involved with is called Home, which is housing opportunities for musicians and entertainers. And we help to pay rent for older musicians in the Austin area, many of whom are already also dealing with health problems. And of course, at a certain age, a less opportunity to work, and then during the pandemic, completely flat. So it's been an interesting year, but we've been around for about 9 years now, and we're all women, and we're all women in the music business in this case. So I'm sustained by this. We get together. When we found a friend, an older musician who needed help, we just called up a kitchen table full of women, and we threw a gig and we raised some money. And that's just how we operate. So that's been the driving force behind Home. The other nonprofit that I'm involved with is called HAM, which is Health Alliance for Austin Musicians. And that's providing access to health care. And they've been around longer and they're bigger, but they're incredibly important. And other communities have we kind of got the idea from New Orleans, from the New Orleans Musicians Clinic, but now Nashville has one, Seattle has something like this, Chicago has something like this. A lot of communities are working in that direction to help sustain their musical community. So I don't know, there's that. And then there's politics, which is I get all up in politics too.
Go ahead, talk about that.
Well, the Seeing Red it's been like 9 or 10 years now. I think I just saw a memory come by, and the Texas legislature, I'm sorry, but they're just dogs. And our state government.
Don't hold back.
I'm sorry. We're just in the biggest mess. We're the laughing stock of the world at this point. And about 10 years ago, they decided to defund women's health care profoundly. It was their second cut, all to get to Planned Parenthood, all to limit access to abortion. But what they're doing is limiting access to any kind of women's health care. So a friend of mine, Sharon Mays, and I got together and founded a little protest three Mondays in March. And we stood out in front of the Capitol with several hundred of our closest friends, actually, and banged on pots and pans, which is another song from the Alligator record, Shine Bright, and the most political song maybe on the record, because Molly Ivins, the great columnist, said that nothing is going to change until we get out in the street and bang on pots and pans. So that's what we did. The other, I'm not really promoting this record, but it's to talk about songwriting and what happens in a politically stressful time or in a pandemic, is that I find that people write contrarian songs, counterintuitive songs in a way. My friend Kimmy Rhodes and I wrote a song for that record called World Full of Love. And at the time, we were anything but. And we thought, let's write a song about what we want to happen, what we want to be. And that's what kind of what Shine Bright is. It's a celebration of what we want to be.
Well, going back to
Did I
a
cover it
subject,
all?
you did great. And I was watching everybody smiling and nodding. I was raised by women, and I feel very strongly about women's issues. And I'm just glad that there are people like you out there with the pots and pans. And I know I'm seeing a lot of nodding here on the screen, and people. Oh, and this and Shining Bright. Let's talk a little about music. I've heard the story of what inspired you to start playing and who inspired you, but these people haven't. So do you want to tell a little of the Marcia Ball story?
Well, speaking of women, my grandmother was a piano player. Her father was actually a musician and a composer down in Lafayette, Louisiana. And my grandmother played piano. The legend is that she accompanied the silent movies in Lafayette when she was a teenager and played all her life. And she played Tin Pan Alley, Stride, So I got that from the cradle. And they put me in piano lessons when I was 5. And my aunt, her daughter, also played beautifully cocktail music from the 40s and 50s. And so I was just the next in line. My cousin Sandy and I were the next 2 girls coming up, and the piano appeared in my house when I was probably 5 and about to start school. And I think about how my mother, it was not a big house. I mean, she had to move the sofa to put the piano in the living room, and she did. And that's how I got started. And now I have grandchildren. We have all boys, but my grandsons here in Austin are taking piano lessons. And I imagine that at some point, if someone asks them, how did you get started playing music? They're going to say, well, my grandmother played the piano, which is how I always start. So that's how I started. And I grew up in a great part of the country. I grew up in South Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, Southeast Texas, which was a hotbed. I mean, it's where Moon Mullican and the Big Bopper and George Jones were from. It's where the Johnny and Edgar Winter came from. It's where Janice is from. It's where Lonnie Brooks came from. It's where Katie Webster came from. It's where Clifton Chenier based himself for many years. And so there was Cajun music, there was Zydeco, there was soul music, there was country music, and there was, when it came up, rock and roll. And I also grew up at a great time because there was Fats Domino, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Ray Charles all at the same time, all piano players. So it just, my path was kind of set as someone who inhaled music. And, and then I also hit college at the dawning of the age of Aquarius, which came a couple of years later in Louisiana than it did in the rest of the country. And so, the first time I saw hippies, I thought, I think that's what I am. And next thing you know, I was in a rock and roll band, and that was it.
So talk about how you moved from rock and roll to the gumbo that you play now, New Orleans and Gulf Coast music and Texas music and Roadhouse music and blues and rock and roll and R&B and ballads.
All that was where I was. It's where I came from, and it's what was in the air. I'm still just working that. When I was 13, my other grandmother lived in New Orleans, and we spent a lot of time there growing up. And when I was 13, my cousin and I went to see Irma. Well, we went to a big package show at the Municipal Auditorium, and I've tried to look this up to figure out who all was on that show. I can't really find the documentation, but I know that it was Ernie Cato and Alan Toussaint and Joe Jones maybe, and Benny Spellman, and everybody that was big at that time in New Orleans. But I only remember Irma Thomas, and she blew my mind for being a woman on stage. The first time I really had ever seen a woman take the stage in a live performance like that. And she was pregnant out to here at the time. two things that helped me through, playing right up until I was 8.5 months pregnant too. So that was, that's where I came from. But the journey took me starting with the rock and roll band in Baton Rouge, and then we moved to Austin, and then I played country music. Hippies playing country music for other hippies, cowboy hats with hair bushing out and Levi's and boots. We all had that stuff in our closets, but it was as if for a few years we realized, and Willie Nelson came back to Austin, we realized that we loved country music and that we weren't going to let the rednecks take it away from us. So we just started playing it, and the classic stuff in the case of my band. And so I did that for a while, but then when it was time to start my own band, which was in about 1975, I knew that I was moving back home. I was going back in the direction of R&B. It's what I was writing. It's what I knew. It's what a piano player does. And that's how I started moving into that world. And I made one Capitol record, and I was on Rounder, the great folk and roots music label, for a number of years. And then 20 years ago, after courting for 10 years or more, Bruce.
It's true. I was chasing Marcia, and Marcia was running away.
I finally landed where I was supposed to be, and got on Alligator Records, and it's been remarkable. Alligator has scored me 4 Grammy nominations, and
we like to think that you scored 4 Grammy nominations, and maybe
more
we helped.
Awards than I can mention, and they've promoted my records. It's a wonderful group. I can't believe there's only 15 of you with all the good stuff y'all do.
Well, Marc mentioned that he'd been there 29 years, which makes him not quite a newbie, but almost. People come and spend their lives like I have with Alligator, because they love the music, because we love working together, and we love the artists we promote. Marcia's pretty special in so many ways, as you all can already tell. But we've got a lot of people who are not only incredibly soulful, but really good human beings.
Bruce has a book, by the way, about Alligator and about his life and how this came about. And so
it's called Bitten by the Blues.
Bitten by the Blues.
Bitten by the Blues. And it's published by University of Chicago Press. And, I tried to tell some of the stories because, I'm not all that interesting a person, but I've been surrounded in my life by people like Albert Collins and Katie Webster and Hound Dog Taylor and Coco Taylor, and many, many more who are fabulously colorful people who came from backgrounds far different from my, growing up in the suburbs of Cincinnati, and who learned so much from those living experiences and put that living into their music. The blues, we talk about the blues being a healing music. Blues is all about singing your story so that the listeners can relate to it and feel what you felt, and maybe feel not so alone or feel better. They say that in the blues, sometimes, with the sad songs, sometimes you've got to get squeezed out like a sponge, but at the end you feel better. Somebody told me right after I moved to Chicago for the blues, that you listen to the blues to get rid of the blues, and it's pretty much true. I love these artists. I've produced a number of the records myself. I'm not the right producer for Marcia, and we both know that. And my feelings are not hurt. She knows more chords than I do, and I don't want her to be limited to the chords I know. So, but I've produced over 100 records myself, and with artists who know the same chords I do, and we'll continue to do so. And we release between 6 and 10 albums a year, and we keep them in print and available forever.
And I'd like to mention some of the people who have really helped me along in this record. As I was getting ready for this song today, I was thinking about a bass player named Bruce Hughes, who came with me when I was putting these songs together. And there's always a key person. And in this case, Bruce was that. Steve Berlin produced the record, and he would be another person who was key in interpreting what I had in mind, but could not exactly express in some cases. But Bruce being
And Steve is from Los Lobos.
Yeah, Steve is the sax player and producer for Los Lobos. And but putting songs together, and I'd also definitely want to mention my comadres, Shelley King and Carolyn Wonderland, who often are the first people to hear songs that I'm writing, and sometimes before they're even finished. And we're already working out our harmonies on those songs, because I know that without them, it won't be the rich experience that I hope a record will be. So there's a song of a couple of records ago that I sang to them before I knew that we were going to record that song before it was even finished, and we ended up doing the background vocals in Woodstock with Shelley and Carolyn and Amy Helm on that song. So it's just been it's a group experience for any time that we do a production, and the creative part of it, and then the actual going out and telling people about it, which is the Alligator part of it.
Marcia.
And normally, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you, Bruce. Go ahead. You can tell.
Well, it looks like we're approaching some light at the end of this tunnel we've been in. And I have to thank a lot of people for that, including the present crew in Washington, who actually figured out what was important in our lives after 4 years of purgatory would be a nice term. And Marcia will be out on the road at some point, hopefully before the end of the year.
Seriously, in October.
There is nothing more fun than going to a Marcia Ball performance, and you have to do it if you haven't.
We're out big time in October. I mean, if everything keeps going, and you're right, I've been that light at the end of the tunnel. I wonder how many people have already written that song, because that's what everybody is feeling right now. And we're going to be touring with Tommy Castro in October.
Another Alligator artist.
A string of dates, and a lot of festivals have been moved. The Jazz Fest in New Orleans is going to be in October. We've got some gigs with Sonny Landreth. So October seems to be when the gate opens for me. And meanwhile, we're doing a bunch of these sorts of things, which we've learned is a great tool. You actually, I think we'll continue to use this even after we can do live performances, because we reach people. Your hellos to everybody from Vancouver to the UK, that's enlightening. And you can't do that if you're trying to raise money in a 300, and that's what we're always doing, trying to raise money in a 300-seat club. But if you can reach 1,000 people in all over the country and all over the world, then it's a good tool.
It's exactly right. And we've also figured out that we've built this community that extends around the US and to other countries on our little planet. And we're not just going to stop being a community simply because the pandemic is gone, right? We've established relationships. We all feel responsible for each other. And so, of course, we're going to keep coming together and singing. Daily Antidote Year 2 is about to start on April 6th, but also that notion that no matter where we are or what we're doing, the singing together is what carries us. So Daily Antidote Live is something we kind of joke about in this room, but of course a Marcia Ball concert in your very own area, wherever that may be, is the perfect place to pull together your own community. Those of us who are in the room and who all live in the same place, or those of us who have friends who they want to drag along, we can all meet at Marcia Ball concerts starting in October. So that sounds absolutely fabulous. I know I'm in, and I know there's lots of folks in the chat saying that they've been going to your concerts for years. So that's awesome.
If I could interject, Joe, about a Marcia Ball concert, you're absolutely right. You will not have more fun. And I wasn't gonna even bring this up because who cares about me, but real fast. When Bruce hired me, I swore I was never getting married, ever. About 6 months later, we went and saw Marcia Ball, who we were courting, to see if we were gonna sign her. That night, I met my wife of 25 years. So I've told my kids, I have 2 daughters, and I've told them over and over, without Bruce and without Marcia Ball, neither one of you would exist. So publicly, thank you both. And
I mean, do I have to chip in for college or anything?
now, too late for the older one, although she's in grad school. But the little one's just about ready to get going now. So
that's absolutely amazing. So now you've actually raised the bar of what we expect now to happen at a Marcia Ball concert.
Right.
So for all the single ladies and gentlemen in the room, and of any gender or sexual preference, you should all show up at a Marcia Ball concert now and see what happens. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you
It's
so
good
much.
things happen.
Magic happens.
Good things
Perfect. Thank you so much, Marc. Thank you so much, Bruce. And I just want to say to both of you and to the audience here or the attendees here that we don't have to worry about not ever getting to see them again, because we've already arranged for Toronzo Cannon, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, to be in the room with us in a couple of weeks. So you'll be able to see Marc and Bruce again then, and hopefully more Alligator artists in the future. And Marcia, I just want to, when I was talking with Marc about having you in here, even after we had talked about you and who you are, I never quite understood what a perfect fit you are for this community until you came into this room and talked about all of the ways that you are active. This is a super active community. We're always looking for ways to be active. And we recently had a birthday celebration in here, 75th birthday celebration for Issei Barnwell of Sweet Honey in the Rock. And it was filled with a room full of aging and slightly aging sweet honeys. We had Ella Jenkins in here, who is 97 years old, born in 1924. And there's a lot to think about and talk about in terms of our older or aging artists right now. I mean, in general, aging folks in our culture are not respected, are marginalized, are left out, are not thought of in terms of their needs. But artists in particular, I feel like there's a little loophole somewhere where their future care isn't considered. And it's actually been a discussion in here, both in front of the scenes and behind the scenes with aging artists. And I'm so excited to hear about what you're doing. The ladies around the kitchen table figuring out a way to, sort of come up with a support mechanism is really, really inspiring. So thank you for bringing that up.
We have 22 clients right now. We have 9 who are long-term clients and 13 who we are, right now they're on a kind, there's a cutoff, but there's nothing worse than telling somebody they're cut off. So now what we do is go out and beg so that we don't have to make that call. So
that's
anyway.
Beautiful. Yeah. Amazing. What's the name of the organization? Does it have a website?
We call it Home, and the website is homeaustin.org, and it's housing opportunities for musicians and entertainers.
That's great, Katie.
It's Home.
Perfect, Katie. If you can throw that into the chat, also that would be great. I want to thank Katie Abadou again for doing a great job in the chat. I saw that she was pulling up links related to the stuff you guys were talking about. Thank you so much, Katie. I want to thank Marc Lipkin again, Alligator Records, and Bruce. You know what, Bruce? Can you please say your last name for me? Bruce?
Oh, sure. It's Iglauer.
Bruce Iglauer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you'll never meet anybody else with that last name.
That's
really?
Amazing.
Except your brother.
That's great. Thank you so much, Bruce Iglauer, for coming in today, founder of Alligator Records 50 years ago this year. And Marcia, I cannot possibly thank you enough for our experience with you today. It was quite a journey. And I would love to ask if you could give us that chorus a few more times before we have to part today.
You betcha. And thank you so much. It's my absolute pleasure to do this. And thank everybody out there for being involved and taking your lunch hour to sing. I hope that maybe some of you were dancing too, because that's really where it's at. Let's go some more. Let's shine bright. Shine bright. Shine bright. Marzar Scott Hubbard. Shine bright. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, y'all. Shine bright. shine bright. Vincent van Gogh, shine bright. Neil deGrasse Tyson, shine bright. Shine bright. Shamika Copeland, shine bright. Shine bright. Leonardo da Vinci, shine bright. Woo. Shine bright. Woo. Shine bright. Suffragette Susan B. Anthony, shine bright. The amazing Stephen Hawking, shine bright. Woo! Sister Rosa Parks, y'all. When you feel the spirit, step into the light, shine bright.
Woo! Absolutely, absolutely amazing. Thank you, Marcia. You have given us a lot of joy and a lot of strength today. And thank you for running through the names of the folks who have been out there as change makers long before us and now. And it's really, really great to be in your company and in their company right now in this space. They are here with us in so many ways. So there's our charge is to go out there today, guys, and think of some way to make somebody else's world shine a little brighter. Thank you so much again, Marcia and Bruce and Marc and the Alligator Records team. I am going to say goodbye to all of the folks on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you'll join us tomorrow and every day after that for a song in here in the Daily Antidote of Song. Thank you so much.